Hello and welcome back to the NHL Best Bets. Last night there were five good games. We picked two of those. Arizona against Minnesota. Very much like predicted, good goaltending, even though there were different goaltenders that we expected to play, but both Arizona's Hill and Minnesota's Talbot played very well, even though at the end game was 4-0 for Minnesota, but it was a very long time 0-0, and then Minnesota made a few goals at the end of the game, make it 4-0. Then other game, Vegas at St. Louis, very even game. As we discussed yesterday, it was a coin flip at the end. And overtime, Vegas won St. Louis 5-4. There as well, a bit different goaltending in Vegas than predicted. Maybe Tommy, you can explain a little bit how it was possible that Fleury was on COVID protocol yesterday, but at the end played against St. Louis.
Yeah, as a COVID expert, I can try to explain. I don't really know how this COVID protocol works. It seems that not a lot of people know, but there was a positive COVID test first for Fleury. He was put in the protocol, but then tested again, and it was negative, so he got to play. But I don't think that had a lot of effect in the game. Overall, it was pretty much as we predicted. Quite a lot of goals, good offensive effort from both teams, a little bit shaky in the defense this time. We've seen these sort of games from St. Louis especially so far in the season, that they're not defensively as good as they usually have been, but they have been able to score goals and keep it competitive. Maybe Fleury wasn't at his best anyway. Maybe he's been ill or something like this, because he did drop a couple of pucks and rebounds were then scored by St. Louis. But a bad beat for us again in the overtime, but a good pick in that sense that it was a positive value for St. Louis at home. They took it to overtime, but didn't manage to win. But this is a bet that I would make again. And Minnesota, Arizona, very much a game exactly as we predicted. Like you said, different goaltenders, but didn't matter this time. Luckily, I was a bit afraid when I saw the confirmed keepers that if this is gonna go our way, but it did. It was essentially a 2-goal game. Phil Kessel had a lot of chances, was stopped by Cam Talbot nicely 3 times at least. Adin Hill in Arizona played a good game as well. Kirill Kaprizov of Minnesota, the super rookie from Russia, scored a hat-trick. But the last 2 goals, one was empty netter, and then in the final seconds, Kaprizov finished his hat-trick. So 4-0 the score. Could have been 2-0 or 2-1, 2-2, but clearly an under bet and a very good pick from us. And the machine, of course.
Yeah, and it looked like Machine was back in business last night, because there were a few of these big home favorites. Edmonton took care of business against Ottawa, and Colorado struggled with scoring, but won 2-0 against LA Kings. And then also San Jose was some value bet based on simulations. They took a convincing 6-0 victory in Anaheim. So any comments about our simulations that a few nights ago they were not so great, but now it looks like they are back in green by far?
Yeah, it was a good round for the simulation engine. We did, of course, manage to pick the only game that was wrong from the side value. So St. Louis was supposed to win, but they didn't. Every other game, 5 games only, of course, but they went our way. So plus 117 altogether if you count the minus 100 from the St. Louis. So a pretty good side value. Of course, these heavy favorites winning, they don't give a lot of profit per game, but still better to see the green than the red, even if we were a couple of units red. So let's keep this going, and the system seems to be working quite well. 50-50 also in the over-under. So very good overall profit and a good night.
What do you think about Colorado's performance? We've discussed that they have struggled with scoring because their high-octane offense should score much more than they've done in previous games. Now they outshot LA Kings 46-18 in this last night game and still barely managed to win it. So do you think there's some kind of concerns in Colorado's bench right now?
I think there is some concern, but if you think it positively, they are not allowing a lot of shots. They're not allowing a lot of goal scoring chances for their opponents. So it's something that goes their way, and in the long run, it might turn to be a good thing. They are still creating quite a bit of chances, and especially shooting a lot. Of course, when you have players like Mikko Rantanen, McKinnon, Landeskog, these guys, they want to score goals. And when they can, there is a little bit of this sort of excitement going on and little jitters in the goal scoring chances. Like we've seen now, they are shooting all over. They're not even hitting the net all the time and all these things. So, of course, it builds up into a frustration, but it's a matter of time when they start scoring from these chances. Like I've stated before, they are the most productive team in goal scoring chances. They're creating the most chances in the league, but they're not scoring at the moment. But when that happens, it will be a really tough team to beat because they can score 4 to 5 goals in a game quite easily. So let's hope they get it going because it's a very entertaining team to see. And of course, because the simulations do love them due to the fact that they're creating so many chances, so many shots, and usually scoring a lot of goals.
Speaking about the team that creates a lot of chances and scores a lot of goals, we picked just for entertaining tonight, pick Edmonton against Vancouver, and Edmonton has now put their biggest eggs to the one basket. So McDavid and Draisaitl are playing in the same line. They have been quite unstoppable in the last few games, and we think this will continue against Vancouver. Edmonton has had upper hand during this season against the Canucks, and reasonable odds, minus 115 on the road for the big favorite here is our another pick. And the first pick here, Dallas goes to Columbus. These teams played against each other earlier this week. That was a split decision there. Both teams won one game. Now home team with 125 plus odds is value pick here, and Dallas is a bit roller coaster team. Columbus haven't performed very well either, but I think at home they have a chance to win this very even and tight game at the end.
Yeah, it's let's go first to the Edmonton game. That is the more entertaining one from these two, I think. Like you said, now McDavid, Draisaitl together, they cause some havoc to Ottawa Senators. Of course, Senators the worst team in the North, so not necessarily as big win expected against Vancouver, but Edmonton is a better team. When these guys got their game going, they're almost unstoppable offensively. It will be really difficult matchup for the Canucks, who are not defensively very good team. So I think now Edmonton have won 4 games in a row. They did beat Calgary before beating Ottawa 3 times. So now continuing their journey to Vancouver, I think they're a better team. They're gonna outscore Vancouver maybe 3-6 or something like this if these two guys can keep it going. And I don't see a reason why not. And then completely the opposite kind of game, Columbus-Dallas. I think Columbus is due a win now. They played a little bit better. They had definitely hit a slump on their way, but against Florida, they were quite good for 2 periods. Managed to compete with the Florida team, but then lost in the overtime. So pretty bitter loss under their belt. Dallas lost to Chicago at home. So both teams are due a bounce back here, but I think Columbus, with these odds at home, gonna play tight defense. John Tortorella still has something to give. They haven't been grinding as much as Tortorella probably wants, so there's gonna be like a game that is maybe 2 goals each, and then a coin flip there, which with these odds will of course go to Columbus.
Yeah, and when we take a look of Columbus-Dallas historical track record, this season they played 4 times. Both teams have won 2 of those games, so pretty even matchup from that point. But last 3 seasons they haven't matched so many because they have played in different divisions in the past. But they have played 5 times against each other, and Columbus has won all of those 5. So in the past, Columbus have been difficult team for Dallas. And then there are quite a few games tonight. I think altogether 14 or so. And of course, there's a lot of good values in other games. You mentioned that you are ready to bet again St. Louis Vegas game, and there is a good value for a home team again. Do you think this is time for a bigger bet this time as previous one went south?
Yeah, I always double the bet when you lose. No, not really. But yeah, this is still a good bet. I think St. Louis played well yesterday, as did Vegas, of course, and it was all even game. So when you get nice odds for the home team in a back-to-back, I think it's a good bet. The simulations have St. Louis winning 57.8%. And the odds are around minus 100, so quite even at this time. Of course, if you get positive odds for St. Louis, then go for it. But in this case as well, it is worth a punt. I think the game was more even than the odds indicated yesterday.
Then we have some early games here that, of course, would be good to bet among with Columbus. New York Islanders have been red hot, and we picked them a few nights ago to win their game, and now they are back on the road against New Jersey that they faced them last time and won 5-3. New Jersey has played sometimes reasonably well when they won Boston on the road, but mostly the performance haven't been there, while New York Islanders has now won I think 7 games in a row, and out of the last 10 they have won 9, so they are maybe the hottest team right now in the league. But value here is on home team, so Devils side. Do you think there is a good bet with these high 140, 150 plus odds for a home team in Saturday night?
I think it will be a little bit closer than the odds indicate. Now, of course, like you said, 9 games out of 10 that Islanders have won, so it will affect the odds. It's not that good a team, even if they've played pretty well lately, but the odds of minus 170 at the moment on the road against their rivals, I'd say that New Jersey has a better value there, and the simulations indicate as well that New Jersey has a 46% chance of winning this game, so it's a lot closer to 50-50 than these odds would indicate. Of course, New Jersey has been playing pretty badly a couple of games, but they are also capable of shutting down Islanders, so they can play in a similar manner as Islanders are, pretty defensively, matching the lines, doing all these little things that will keep the score pretty close. So we're expecting both New Jersey to put up a fight and also a very low scoring game. So in simulations, only 2.4 goals scored by the Islanders and 2.2 from New Jersey at home. So 70% under 5.5 goals. So this is an under game if there ever was one.
Yeah, that looks maybe the best bet out of this game. So betting under here, especially if Wood in New Jersey's goal is working as they've expected. I don't know if it's Blackwood or some other Wood, but they seem to have only Wood name goalies in New Jersey.
Yeah, Mackenzie Blackwood should be playing better than he has so far, so he has something to prove, and I do think that he's a better goaltender than we've seen so far, and he fits pretty well the New Jersey defense. I think that it's just about the way that New Jersey has played lately, that they've allowed too many chances, too many goals, but they are due to a bounce back, and it will be a close game for sure.
Is there any other games that you want to highlight for tonight's big plate, which have a good value and you would consider to make some bucks out of the bets?
There are a couple of these repetitions from last night. For example, in California, Anaheim is hosting San Jose. San Jose was a lot better last night. I think that might continue. San Jose is a sort of team that we've been expecting them to do better. Last season was, of course, a disaster. This season, not so good, and then some games really good. So it's a weird team to predict. But I think against Anaheim, they found the way to score goals, and it was a quite clear win. Yesterday, they have 58% chance to win according to simulations, while the odds are for San Jose minus 115. So I think this is a good road value here. Some other games as well, but not so overwhelming. We do have these heavy favorites again. Tampa Bay facing Nashville. They are winning 75% of the simulations, but the odds are minus 286. So not much value there. Similar thing in Buffalo, where Pittsburgh Penguins is visiting. They won the game 2 nights ago, and now they are favored again, 67%, odds minus 218. So there is small value, but these, like we've seen with the favorites, sometimes they do lose these games. But according to simulations, go with the favorites this time in these 2 games.
Yeah, and one word about Anaheim's home performance in back-to-back games. Historically, their home win percentage in the last 3 seasons have been a bit over 50%, but back-to-back home games, they have been only able to win 40% of those. So they are maybe a bit tired at home when they are playing back-to-back. Similar kind of effect haven't been there for the San Jose. So that is some information that backs up the selection of the visitors win. But of course, if you are beaten home 6-0, you maybe have something to prove in next game.
Yeah, even without the audience there, but have to highlight also this one of our favorite pairings this season has been Florida Panthers and Chicago Blackhawks. This time again, probably Kevin Lankinen for Chicago, proving his point and making a run for Calder Trophy maybe. Chicago is a road team. They do have a little bit of value. They are winning 44% of the simulations with odds of plus 133. So small value, but I think it's gonna be of sorts, and a very interesting game to watch because of these 2 teams. Maybe a little bit overachieving, at least compared to the preseason expectations. But let's see how it works out this time around.
And maybe the last game to go through tonight before the game starts in a few hours is the matchup in Saddle Dome, Calgary. Montreal plays second game there, and Calgary won previous one 2-1, very even game. But their well-known poor performance at home is something that we need to consider when we are betting Calgary, even though there is a pretty good value based on the simulations.
Yeah, they have been horrible at home, as we've been repeating, but they did win Montreal as we predicted last time. Now Calgary does have a value of 58% of the simulations, and in Calgary's win, and they do have the odds are around 50-50 here. So home favorite according to simulations, while home underdog according to odds. So maybe Calgary is over there. Weird witchcraft kind of thing at home, but remains to be seen. Our simulations have not rated Montreal a lot, so also keep in mind that maybe there is something in Montreal that we are not taking into account.
Let's see how the witchcraft works in Saddle Dome, and of course we follow all the games, so it will be good but long night for NHL hockey again.
Full night of ice hockey, nothing better than that.